Have you ever felt like life is pressing down on you so hard that breathing itself feels like a battle? Those moments when the weight of everything you carry seems too much, when quitting whispers in your ear, offering the comfort of escape. It tells you to let go, to stop trying, to give up on the fight. And for a moment, the thought of quitting feels like relief. But deep inside, you know that giving in would not set you free. It would only chain you to regret, to the haunting voice of what could have been if you had held on just a little longer. Struggle has a way of convincing us that we are weaker than we truly are. It paints failure as final, hardship as permanent, and exhaustion as the proof that we cannot go on. Yet the truth is different. Hardship is not evidence of weakness. It is evidence that you are still alive, still standing, still refusing to be broken completely. Every weight you carry, every tear you shed, every night you spend wondering if you can make it through, these are not signs of defeat. They are signs of the fight still burning within you. And that fight is what will shape you into someone stronger than you can imagine today. Think of how diamonds are formed. They are not born shining. They are created under pressure, under heat, under conditions so intense that ordinary stone transforms into something priceless. You are no different. The pressure you feel now, the heaviness that makes you want to surrender, is not meant to destroy you. It is meant to transform you. Life is carving strength into your character, patience into your spirit, and resilience into your soul. You may not see it yet, but every struggle is shaping the future version of you who will look back and say, "This is where I became unbreakable." The temptation to quit will always appear strongest right before change begins. That's because the struggle is a test. It is life asking you, are you willing to endure long enough to discover who you really are? Quitting answers no. Enduring answers yes. And when you choose yes, you unlock a path to growth that quitting could never give you. You are not here to surrender. You are here to rise, to face the storm and walk through it, even with trembling steps. Stay with this message, because what comes next will show you not only how to survive these moments, but how to turn them into your power. If you keep going, if you refuse to quit, you will discover a strength inside you that can carry you further than fear ever said you could go. This is not the end. This is the beginning of becoming unstoppable. When the weight feels unbearable, the mind naturally begins to ask why. Why am I fighting this battle? Why am I pushing myself when quitting would be so much easier? The truth is, without a clear reason, persistence feels impossible. But the moment you connect to your deeper why, something shifts inside you. The pain does not vanish, but it gains meaning. And when pain has meaning, it becomes fuel instead of chains. Think about the reason you first began your journey, the vision that once lit your heart on fire before the struggle grew so loud. That vision is not gone. It is still inside you, waiting for you to remember. When people give up, it is rarely because the challenge was truly unbeatable. It is because they lost sight of their why. They forgot the purpose that made the fight worth enduring. Without purpose, even small problems feel crushing. But with purpose, even enormous struggles can be faced with courage. This is the power of connecting to something bigger than the hardship itself. When you can picture what lies beyond the difficulty, when you can see the life waiting on the other side, your steps become heavier with determination instead of despair. Ask yourself, what would quitting cost me? Not just today, but tomorrow, a year from now, 10 years from now. Imagine the weight of regret pressing harder than the weight of today's struggle. Regret is a burden far heavier than effort. Then ask, what could continuing give me? What kind of life could I unlock if I refused to surrender? These questions matter because they turn your focus from pain to possibility. And possibility is what keeps you moving when strength feels gone. Your why cannot be shallow or it will crumble under pressure. It must be something deep enough to anchor you when storms rise. For some, it is the dream of freedom. For others, it is the promise to family. For many, it is the vision of becoming the person they were meant to be. Whatever your why is, it has to burn brighter than your fear, louder than your doubt, stronger than your exhaustion. Because when your why is strong, nothing can silence it. Hold on to this truth. The struggle you face today is not just for you. Every step you take forward becomes a light for someone else who feels lost. Your perseverance will inspire someone you may never meet, someone who needed proof that rising is possible. By refusing to quit, you are not only saving your own future, you are showing others that strength lies within them too. That is the reward of staying in the fight. That is the gift of remembering why you started. Even with a powerful reason to keep moving, the loudest obstacle often rises from within. The mind can become a battlefield filled with doubt, fear, and the constant whisper that you are not enough. These thoughts creep in at the very moment you try to rise, pulling you back into the comfort of staying small. They sound convincing, but they are not the truth. They are echoes of old beliefs, defenses built by the brain to protect you from uncertainty. The human mind is wired to resist change, to cling to safety even when safety means stagnation. That resistance is not proof that you should quit. It is proof that you are stretching beyond what you once believed possible. Fear is not a wall meant to stop you. It is a signal that you are entering new territory. Doubt is not evidence of failure. It is the tremor of growth, the shaking of old limits about to be broken. And when shame tells you that you are not enough, remember this: it speaks only because you are daring to become more. The enemy within is loud, but it cannot control you unless you agree to listen. Every time you choose action over hesitation, the voice loses its power. Every step forward tells your mind a new story, one where you are capable, one where you are strong, one where you rise despite the fear. Courage is often misunderstood. People think it means living without fear, but courage is simply movement in the presence of fear. It is saying, I feel afraid, but I will act anyway. That choice changes everything. When you act, fear has no ground left to stand on. It fades in the light of forward motion. Each act of courage rewires your mind, training it to see challenges not as threats but as opportunities. The more you do this, the more natural it becomes, until resilience becomes your second nature. Do not wait for fear to disappear before you take your next step. If you wait, you will never move. Step while fear is still there. Speak while doubt is still loud. Rise while the weight still feels heavy. Action itself is the cure. Action is the weapon that silences the inner enemy. One small move today begins a chain reaction that builds confidence, momentum, and strength. And with every decision to move forward, you break another piece of the barrier within. You may think the voice of quitting defines you, but it does not. It is only a test. It is life asking, will you shrink or will you grow? And when you choose growth, even trembling, you discover that the enemy within is powerless. The strength you are searching for is already inside you, waiting to be claimed through action. The pain you feel in this moment is not a punishment. It is not life's way of telling you to stop. Pain is a messenger. It is the voice of growth, the evidence that something inside you is being shaped into something stronger. Most people run from it, believing that comfort is the goal. But comfort never transforms anyone. Growth is born only when pressure is applied, when you are pushed beyond the edges of what feels safe. Pain is not your enemy. It is your teacher, and its lessons are written in the fire of endurance. Every scar you carry tells a story, and that story is proof that you have survived before. Pain reminds you that you have already endured storms that once felt impossible. It shows you that the human spirit bends, but it does not have to break. The discomfort you feel is not there to hold you down. It is there to strip away weakness and reveal strength that has been hidden within you all along. Just as a muscle tears before it grows stronger, your spirit expands when it is stretched by trials. Each challenge becomes the weight that builds your resilience, and every setback becomes the raw material of your future greatness. The question is not whether you can avoid pain. You cannot. The question is whether you will use it. Will you allow it to shape you, to sharpen your perspective, to deepen your character, or will you let it convince you to retreat? The truth is, the greatest versions of ourselves are not born from ease. They are forged in difficulty, refined through fire, and strengthened through struggle. Pain is not here to define you as weak, it is here to refine you into someone unshakable. Instead of cursing the hardship, ask what it is teaching you. Ask what it is revealing about your endurance, your patience, your will. Every hardship holds within it a gift, but the gift is only given to those who refuse to run. If you hold steady, the very thing that hurts you now can become the foundation of your power later. What once made you cry can one day make you unbreakable. The truth is simple. Pain is not permanent. It rises, it peaks, it falls. But the strength you gain from facing it lasts forever. If you run from pain, you stay the same. If you face it, you evolve. The discomfort you feel now is building a version of you who will carry strength so deep, nothing can shatter it. Embrace that truth, because the pain in your path today may be the very reason you rise tomorrow. Every moment of pain brings you to a point of choice. You can stay down or you can rise again. Quitting is always the easiest path, but ease has never built greatness. Rising is harder. Rising demands effort when your body feels empty, hope when your heart feels heavy, and belief when your mind is drowning in doubt. But the act of rising holds power beyond measure. Each time you stand back up, you prove to yourself that failure is not final, that struggle is not the end, and that strength is born in the very moment you refuse to surrender. Life is not defined by how many times you fall. It is defined by how many times you rise. Every fall is an invitation, a chance to decide what kind of person you are becoming. If you stay down, you teach yourself that defeat has the final word. But if you rise, you teach yourself that resilience runs deeper than any setback. And with each rise, belief grows stronger. Confidence is built not through perfection, but through persistence. The more you rise, the more natural it becomes until rising is no longer a decision. It is who you are. There is no shame in falling. Everyone falls. The only shame is in refusing to rise. Because each time you rise, you create a future that quitting could never give you. You might not see the results today, but the act of getting back up plants seeds that will one day grow into unshakable strength. Those seeds are watered by effort, by determination, by the choice to move even when everything in you says stop. And over time, they become the roots of greatness. Rising is not about pretending the pain does not exist. It is about facing the pain and moving anyway. It is about standing taller because the storm tried to push you down. It is about showing yourself that you are stronger than you once believed. Each rise writes a new story about who you are. It tells you that you are not defined by failure, but by the courage to keep trying. Quitting takes only a moment. Rising takes courage. But the reward of rising is a life free from the weight of regret. Regret lingers far longer than pain. Pain fades with time, but regret grows heavier with every passing day. Choosing to rise ensures that when you look back, you will see not a trail of unfinished attempts, but a legacy of resilience. Every rise makes you braver. Every rise builds strength. Every rise declares that you are unstoppable. Rising once is powerful, but rising again and again demands more than emotion. It requires discipline. Motivation is a spark, but sparks fade. Discipline is the steady fire that keeps burning when the spark dies out. Discipline is not about waiting until you feel ready. It is about showing up regardless of how you feel. Feelings are fleeting, but discipline is choice repeated until it becomes identity. Each time you act with discipline, you tell yourself a story. I am someone who follows through. I am someone who does not give up. That story reshapes your mind, rewires your belief, and rebuilds your future. Discipline does not have to roar. It shows itself in small, consistent acts. It is the decision to move forward one more step. It is the habit of refusing to let today be wasted, even when progress feels invisible. Just as water carves stone not by power but by persistence, discipline carves greatness into your life through steady repetition. One act may not change you, but repeated daily, it transforms everything. Discipline is proof that persistence matters more than talent, more than chance, more than circumstance. When you build discipline, you free yourself from the trap of waiting for the right moment. You stop depending on inspiration to appear. You move whether or not you feel inspired. And in moving, you generate momentum. Momentum is the quiet force that carries you forward even when resistance is heavy. The discipline to act creates momentum, and momentum makes the next act easier. Step by step, it becomes natural until forward motion feels like the only option. This is why discipline is the highest form of self-respect. It is saying to yourself, my future matters enough that I will not betray it for comfort today. It is choosing progress over excuses, action over delay, resilience over surrender. And with each disciplined act, you reinforce the belief that you are capable of more than the doubts inside you. You stop being controlled by fleeting emotions and instead become guided by commitment. Discipline transforms pain into progress. It takes struggle and channels it into growth. It takes obstacles and turns them into training. It takes doubt and replaces it with proof. Every time you act with discipline, you lay another brick in the foundation of your strength. Over time, that foundation becomes unshakable. You no longer wait for life to get easier. You become stronger, more resilient, more unstoppable. You may not control when challenges appear, but you can control how you respond. And choosing discipline means you choose progress, you choose strength, you choose to keep going no matter what. That choice is what builds the life you are meant to live. Discipline builds the structure, but within that structure, something even greater must live: hope. Hope is not wishful thinking. It is the deep conviction that tomorrow can be better than today, and that you have the power to shape that tomorrow. Without hope, discipline feels heavy, like dragging yourself through endless darkness. But with hope, even the smallest act of persistence carries light. Hope is the belief that the effort is not wasted, that progress is possible, that the struggle is leading somewhere worth reaching. It is the fire that turns endurance into transformation. Hope does not deny the reality of hardship. It acknowledges it fully and still declares that better is possible. Hope gives meaning to sacrifice. It whispers that the pain of today is not forever, that every act of discipline, every moment of resilience, every rise from the ground is leading you toward a future you cannot yet see but must believe in. When you carry hope, obstacles shrink. When you lose it, even the smallest difficulty feels impossible. Hope is the lens that changes how you see everything. It is not enough to simply want hope. You must protect it, feed it, and guard it with your actions. Every small step forward keeps the flame alive. Every refusal to quit fans it brighter. Hope grows when you remind yourself that the story is not finished. The moment you choose to keep going, you prove to yourself that there is more ahead. Each day you rise becomes evidence that the future is not fixed, that change is possible, that strength is still within you. The mind may tell you that it is hopeless, that nothing will change, that all your effort is wasted. But hope is not born from what the mind sees. It is born from what the heart believes. Hope is a choice, just like discipline. You choose to believe that possibility exists. You choose to believe that there is a way, even when you cannot see it yet. And when you choose hope, you unlock courage, creativity, and perseverance that despair could never touch. Even in the darkest season, a single spark of hope can light the path. That spark may be small, but small is enough. Small can grow, small can spread. Protect that spark with everything you have, because it will guide you when everything else feels lost. Hope is what turns endurance into joy. Hope is what allows you to suffer and still believe it is worth it. Hope is what makes the fight meaningful. Hold on to hope, and you will find that even in the hardest moments, life is still moving you towards something greater. With hope, you will never be powerless, because the future remains unwritten, waiting for your hand to shape it. Hope keeps the flame alive. But what gives that flame meaning is the legacy you are building with every choice to continue. Life is not measured by how smooth the path was, but by how many times you refused to surrender when the path grew steep. The world does not remember ease, it remembers resilience. It remembers those who chose to keep walking in the storm when quitting would have been easier. And one day, when you look back, you will see that your persistence created more than personal victory. It created a story powerful enough to inspire others long after the struggle itself has passed. Every time you rise when you feel like breaking, you carve strength into your character. That strength is not invisible. It radiates outward. It touches people who may never tell you, but who will be moved by your endurance. Your refusal to quit becomes proof that pain is not the end, that perseverance is still possible, that hope is still alive. This is the legacy of those who endure. They live not only for themselves, but for every person who draws courage from their example. Your journey is not just about surviving hardship. It is about becoming a beacon. Every scar you carry can speak to someone else's wound. Every battle you win inside yourself gives someone else permission to fight their own. You may not realize it now, but your story could be the reason another person chooses to hold on. This is why quitting can never be the answer, because quitting silences a voice the world may desperately need to hear. Think of the life that waits for you if you endure. Not only the freedom, the strength, the peace you will claim for yourself, but also the legacy you leave behind, a legacy of resilience, a legacy of courage, a legacy that says, when life pressed me, I did not break. When pain surrounded me, I did not surrender. When quitting called, I refused to answer. That message outlives you. It echoes through those who follow. It becomes proof that no matter how dark life may seem, there is always light for those who keep going. This is the truth. The reward of persistence is not only in what you gain, but in who you become. You become a person unshaken by storms, a person whose strength cannot be stolen, a person who leaves footprints of courage for others to walk in. And when your time here ends, the impact of your persistence will remain. That is the legacy of never quitting. That is the life worth living. The legacy you are building is not created in a single moment of triumph, but in the repeated decision to keep moving when it feels impossible. Greatness is not sudden. It is shaped in the hidden hours, in the quiet struggles no one else sees, in the relentless persistence that refuses to quit. Every time you resist the urge to give up, you are planting seeds that will outlast the storm. Those seeds grow into strength, character, and a future that could never be born from surrender. What feels heavy today will one day become the very proof of your resilience. The truth is that life was never meant to be easy. Ease does not challenge. Ease does not refine. Ease does not reveal what you are capable of. The struggle you face is not a curse. It is the invitation to rise into your fullest self. And every refusal to quit is a declaration that you will not waste that invitation. Each choice to continue creates momentum, and momentum carries you into a future stronger than anything you once believed possible. The legacy of never quitting is written step by step, breath by breath, moment by moment. There will be times when the temptation to stop feels overwhelming, when your heart begs for relief, and your mind screams that it is too much. But understand this: you are always stronger than you think. Endurance is built in the very moments you believe you cannot go on but still choose to. Those choices accumulate until strength becomes your nature, resilience becomes your identity, Quitting is no longer an option because you have proven to yourself that you can rise again and again. The reward is not only in the victories ahead, but in the transformation happening within you now. Every act of persistence rewrites the story you tell yourself about who you are. You stop seeing yourself as someone fragile and start believing in the unstoppable force within you. That belief cannot be taken by failure, by pain, or by setbacks. It becomes permanent because it was forged in the fire of endurance. Your journey is bigger than the challenges you face. It is bigger than the pain you feel. It is about the strength you discover, the example you set, and the impact you leave. By refusing to quit, you are proving that adversity cannot define you. You are proving that storms do not decide your future. You are proving that nothing can stop a determined heart. This is the ultimate truth. When life gets hard, the choice to keep going is the choice that defines everything.